We have multiple Winnipeg Jets updates to go over today ahead of their big matchup tonight, as a return is imminent and is in the form of Logan Stanley. So to break that down, as well as discuss some new reports that have dropped revealing some interesting details behind the Winnipeg Jets' success to start this season. Stay tuned for all that in this episode. But before we get into it, we are proud to announce that this video is brought to you by Rentals.ca, who are proud supporters of Team Canada. And while they've been supporting our national team defend their home court in international competition, they've also been helping thousands of Canadians find their home floor all across the country. And it doesn't matter what city you are in, whether you're in Toronto, whether you're in Vancouver, Montreal, Calgary, Halifax, it does not matter. Winnipeg, Mississauga, Edmonton, Victoria, St. John's, it doesn't matter where you are from coast to coast. Rentals.ca has a ton of options to find the perfect place and price for you.
Their website is clean and easy to use, and you can pinpoint exactly on the map where you want to move, finding all the options in your area. Find your home court with Rentals.ca.
Yeah, check out the website in the pinned comment or the description down below. And shout out to Rentals.ca for supporting our channel, supporting Team Canada, and supporting you guys for finding the best rentals across the country. So thank you guys again, and thank you to Rentals.ca for sponsoring this video. But Darius, a lot to go over today. Obviously, the Winnipeg Jets play tonight. They're 16-3, the best team in the NHL, at least in my mind, and not necessarily according to all these power rankings that have been coming out lately, but that's a conversation for another day. And moves are imminent, returns are imminent. We also got some info surrounding the line rushes, which is a lot of the same. But let's start with Logan Stanley. So he has actually made his way to the Jets bench at morning skate. He's missed his last 4 games due to a mid-body injury, and it looks like he will go for a bit of a skate after the formal portion of morning skate wraps up. But Logan Stanley, he is on his way back to the Winnipeg Jets. I assume, again, he's probably not going to play tonight. He's not going to play tonight. We know that. It's going to be Hayden Fleury and Colin Miller. But I suspect he's going to get back over the next week or so. And this is the first time in a while he's skated. And it seems like, to much dismay of a lot of Winnipeg Jets fans out there, his return is imminent.
Winnipeg Jets fans, they are not happy that this player is returning, which is pretty hilarious. But nonetheless, he will be returning. And this doesn't come as too much of a surprise to me. I just, it's a question of what day and what game will he return. I don't think it's tonight, but I think it's, sometime very soon. Could be over the weekend, because obviously there's a lot of games coming up and they are on this road trip. But it doesn't come as a surprise, because they said, he was going to travel with the team and that he'd probably get into a game in pretty short order here. So not too surprised about that. Although, Hayden Fleury has been holding it down. He was, statistically, analytically, the worst player on the ice in their last game, but somebody has to be, and it was a good performance against the Florida Panthers, of course. So we'll see how this shakes out over the weekend. It looks like Logan Stanley will be making his return. It also seems like on Monday, I believe, Ville Heinola will be coming back into the roster, the lineup. We don't know exactly if he's going to play, but he will factor into the mix as well. So I think this is very interesting that both of these players are going to be ready around the same time. Again, probably not tonight for Stanley, but I think it's very interesting that these players are going to be ready at the same time. And I'm interested to see what Scott Arniel and the rest of the coaching staff have planned, because I would give both of them a shot. Obviously, you want Stanley in there again because, he's a part of the team. He's a big physical presence. A lot of Jets fans don't like this player, but, he brings all of that to the table. And on the other side, Ville Heinola, he has to start getting into games. You have to see what he has at the NHL level. So it's pretty interesting that they're both factoring into the equation at the same time. And we'll see what happens over the weekend and, of course, on Monday.
Yeah, and again, Scott O'Neill's in a good spot, a privileged spot, in the sense that he has a lot of defensemen that are going to be coming available very quickly in the form of, like you mentioned, Logan Stanley and Ville Heinola. And as you look at the line rushes this morning, the same old, especially from the forward group. Obviously, Connor Scheifele, Vilardi. I don't think any of these are going to change up. We've seen Gustafsson come in and out a little bit, but again, they're going to be rocking the same lineup, especially after Morgan Barron's hot game where he had 2 empty net goals, one of the crazy bank shot channeling his inner Austin Matthews there. But I think tonight is going to be a big test for the Winnipeg Jets. We'll get into that in a little bit, but again, regarding the blue line, things remain the same, but this might be the last time in a while we see Hayden Fleury. Maybe they keep riding with it. He could have a great game tonight, and if they win tonight and they play phenomenally, maybe they keep riding Hayden Fleury, even though Logan Stanley is due back. And again, with the way the Jets are going to have to play to continue to sustain, they're probably not going to sustain their 90 or high 80s win percentage that they're going to continue to they have right now. But you can see this here. Their schedule is very interesting, and quite the schedule we have. 3 time zones, 6 games, 10 days, 12 points up for grabs. Added up, and the Jets hope to do some damage on their longest road trip of the season. And it starts with Pittsburgh tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And again, huge road trip, huge games ahead. We've kind of previewed it a little bit on the channel on Hat Trick as well as Jets a little bit here. But Darius, this is a huge road trip for them. Now, and that's a big part of why it's so important for these guys to return. They play a lot of games. They're traveling a lot. And again, it starts with Pittsburgh. This is the first night of a back-to-back. They also play the Nashville Predators tomorrow night. And then they play the Minnesota Wild. And a very long trip to finish up November. And with all these games, 5 games in about a week, it is 5 games in a week. So 5 games in 7 days, they are going to have to really pick up, and everybody's gonna have to play for each other here. We're probably gonna get to see an Eric Comrie, game tomorrow, I would presume, because it seems like at this point, at least Connor Hellebuyck's factoring in tonight. But man, oh man, what a busy, busy next few days, and they're gonna have to continue to step up. And this is their time, like this article dropped, to gain points and get ahead in the standings.
It is quite the schedule they have coming up here. Obviously, the longest road trip of the year, and I'm glad that it's happening, at least for the Jets. I'm glad for them that it's happening early in the season. You don't want a road trip like this in April or anything. So I'm glad that it's happening early in the season for them, and hopefully they come together and get a couple wins here, because I think it's very interesting. The last little while, they've stumbled a little bit. Like, they lost twice, and they still have a very impressive record, but they bounced back with a big win. And now you're going on a road trip here where you can kind of feast on two teams here in short order, obviously Friday and Saturday, who are struggling, right? And obviously you're playing a better team in the Minnesota Wild on Monday, and Vegas is good next week. You have to look forward to a couple of those games, of course. But this weekend, you have the opportunity to pick up another 4 points and really feel good about yourself. Start this road trip off on the right foot and continue this historic run that they are on to start the season. And then again, next week, anything can happen, right? We've seen that the Jets are human at this point. They've lost a couple games, but again, the ability to bounce back. So it starts tonight with the Pittsburgh Penguins, a team that has really been struggling, like really been struggling. So you have to pick up a few points there. And then even, in Nashville's been struggling as well. So I think it's very interesting. This is an opportunity to continue to feel really good about yourselves going into December and create some distance from the entire league, the rest of the league, right? And really solidify your spot as the best team in the league heading into the new year at this point, because this has been a crazy run for the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, and as you look at some of the other teams around the NHL who are playing well, I mean, the Leafs, Panthers, Carolina, I believe now is 14-4, something crazy like that. So there are some teams on the chasing the Jets for the best record in the NHL, but obviously the Jets hold it for now. And again, they're going to continue to, I think, hopefully get a couple points here. I mean, they're the better team than, Pittsburgh Penguins in theory tonight, you would assume would be a cakewalk game, but we've seen crazier things happen. And one player I do want to highlight, I want to bring up his stats here now, is Gabe Vilardi and Kyle Connor. But I'm going to focus obviously more so on Gabe Vilardi here. And there's a couple different things. You can see he's off to a crazy start this season, and that is no secret. He has 15 points in 19 games. He's going to be a big factor in these, the big road trip. And if he continues to perform well, specifically on that top line, he's at a very, above 30 goal pace this season, which is something that coming into the year, if you told me that, you would think the Jets are in a pretty good spot there. So what are your thoughts on Gabe Vilardi and his potential impact heading into this very key road trip? I think Gabe Vilardi has been one of the Jets' best overall well-rounded players, and he's really been one of the key drivers in that first line, of course, alongside Scheifele and Connor. But I don't know. I'm excited to see what he can do over the next few games, and hopefully the Jets can keep it going here.
Yeah, I don't know if he's necessarily a play driver, but he's a great complement piece to that first line. I think he's really able to get Scheifele going, and just his play style, really, really dynamic, and he's playing well on both sides of the puck, and he's really adding something to that first line. Obviously not a point a game player, but he's almost there, and he's playing almost 20 minutes a night, so he's doing it all for the Jets right now. He's been fantastic, and honestly a breath of fresh air after the PLD trade. So he's been really, really good this year. I think everyone's starting to finally see his potential, because he didn't really reach it in LA, and obviously had some struggles when he first got to Winnipeg. But yeah, I think everyone's slowly starting to see it now, and he's a phenomenal player. And I think the sky's the limit for him right now. I think he's really starting to touch his ceiling.
Yeah, and ultimately I think he will continue to do that, especially he's not super old. And hopefully the Jets continue to keep on going. And it'll be interesting to see how they perform tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins. We should have a post-game video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. We'll see you guys later.